So it's finally here, Bill and Ted's most triumphant return. But after almost 30 years, is this return going to be more excellent or bogus? Yeah, that was lame. Bill and Ted Face the Music is brought to us by director Dean Pariseau and once again stars Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter as Bill and Ted. We follow Bill and Ted as they have been racking their brains for the past 30 years to try and figure out the song that will unite humanity. Because apparently Kiss's God Gave Rock and Roll to You wasn't it. Things haven't quite worked out for Bill and Ted as they expected. They didn't unite humanity, and as a whole the band has broken up over the years. They're now at an all-time low and wondering if they actually were the ones to unite humanity. Right around the time that they're questioning their destiny, everything starts to go to shit. And not just the world, but time and space itself. They're called in by the future and told that they have 77 minutes to come up with the song that will unite all of time and space and humanity as a whole. Feeling a bit daunted by this task, they do, as we saw in the trailer, decide to go to the future and steal the song from themselves. However, of course, this doesn't quite work out as planned, and we go on an excellent adventure with Bill and Ted through some bogus times as they are forced to face the music. Bill and Ted Face the Music is a scary proposition. We're taking beloved characters from years past that were decidedly products of their time, updating them for today's viewer, and giving them a sequel 30 years later. This does not work more times than it does. And going into this film, while very excited because I am a huge Bill and Ted fan, I was also a bit scared for what they were going to do to two of my favorite characters. And they were most triumphant in this endeavor. I had a smile on my face from beginning to end of this movie. They did a fantastic job of retaining that feel-good, carefree, lovable tone of the original movie. And that, in my opinion, is what's most important and what I was most fearful that they would miss. It seems like they're just having a great time once again, and it was a joy to watch Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves back in these iconic roles. Speaking of those two, they fell back into their roles effortlessly. This is exactly how I would see Bill and Ted being 30 years later. They are still the lovable, carefree dimwits that we all fell in love with 30 years ago. However, now they have families and are having to deal with some of the baggage that goes along with family life. The story is tight and falls right in line with the previous two films, blending those movies together beautifully. Much like those two movies do share some sensibilities but are very different from each other, Face the Music is as well. It is a bit more of a blend of those two movies, but in doing so, it is more of its own thing as well. But most importantly, as I said, it retains that great feel of the original movies. This movie doesn't take itself too seriously and is here to just have a good time and leave you with a big fucking smile on your face. And in that, they were totally successful. The story as a whole does a great job of paying homage to its roots while still telling its own story. It's also a lean movie. It comes in at just over an hour and a half, and I feel like that was just right. While I'm always down for a bit more fun like this, that was just the right amount of time that they needed. The film always felt like it was moving forward. It was never stagnant, never boring. It starts and goes all the way to the abrupt ending. Now about that ending, it is a bit abrupt. Things are happening, everything's going on, things are at a high point, and then bam, it just ends. However, if you look back at the previous two movies, that is how they ended as well. These movies bring you up to a high point and get to that peak and then say, all right, that's where we need to be, leaving it there. And that's exactly what Face the Music did too. While it was a bit abrupt, it did, like its predecessor Bogus Journey, leave me feeling really damn good. If you're a fan of the feel and tone of the original movies, which I don't know how you couldn't be, then you will be happy here. This movie absolutely retains that feel good, carefree, everybody get along and have a great time feel. The performances here are great. They are exactly what we expect from a Bill and Ted movie. Much like the tone of the story, it feels like everybody was just having a great time making this fun as hell movie. We've got some old returning characters and some new characters as well. Ted's dad and brother, Missy and the princesses are all welcome returning characters. However, William Sadler's death once again steals the show with his limited amount of screen time this time around. And much like Reeves and Winter, falls back into his role effortlessly. Our new additions all fit right in as well. Most notably, Samara Weaving and Bridget Lundy Payne as Bill and Ted's daughters, Thea and Billy. Now, while these two characters seem more like they're doing Bill and Ted impersonations instead of being their own characters, those impersonations are actually really good. And while at first a bit odd, they do settle into the story great by the end. again. We also get a great brief tribute to the late great George Carlin's Rufus. Myself, like many others, were wondering how they were going to include Rufus into the story. You can't just have a third Bill and Ted movie and not even mention Rufus. Fortunately, they didn't take it too far. They did just the right amount to pay homage to and give tribute to this wonderful actor and great character of years past. It's brief, but it was just right. This movie did exactly what it needed to do. It retained the wonderful feel of the original movies, while at the same time bringing it up to date for today's viewers. Bill and Ted are still Bill and Ted, and their message is just as important today as it was 30 years ago. In fact, probably even more so today than it was then. If you look at what's going on in the world right now as this movie's releasing, the message here is more important than it has ever been. Yeah, I know it's a Bill and Ted movie, and it's carefree and good feeling and not really that deep. But the message they have, I feel, is and always has been: be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. While on the surface that message is really simple and funny, it does have greater meaning. And I feel if everybody, especially nowadays, would just be excellent to each other and party on, then the world would be a better place. The end of this movie is about bringing the world together, no matter who you are, where you're from, what you are, what you believe, none of that matters. It's about everyone as humanity coming together. And I found that really poignant in the world that we live in today. It's almost a bit on the nose considering current events. And I would almost say that's why they did it, but the movie finished filming over a year ago, before a lot of this madness ever kicked into full swing. So maybe Bill and Ted actually are prophets. I really enjoyed Bill and Ted Face the Music, and am very happy to say that it did live up to the expectations I had for it. They did a great job of keeping these characters true to themselves while updating the world that they're in to today's world. We don't get that a lot. Most of the time when something like this gets updated, it loses everything that made it magical to begin with. It's rare that we get something this earnest and faithful to an old property. There's always going to be something, especially in today's cynical world, that people can say negatively about a movie. And there will be people that try and tear this movie down. I am thrilled to say that I thought this movie was absolutely fucking fantastic. It left me feeling great. It made me feel wonderful and good about life. It was very refreshing to visit these lovable, positive, great characters again. And I look forward to doing it again and again. And that's the beauty of this movie and this series. It remains optimistic even in the worst of times. And because of that, I don't care what anyone else has to say. In my opinion, as a fan, Bill and Ted Face the Music is absolutely 100% a unicorn. It's been a while since I gave that rating. I thought this movie was great. It just left me feeling so good. And even now, 2 days later after watching it, I just feel even better about it now. It's a great feeling movie and just makes you feel really good. And we need more of that right now. Fuck, we need more of that all the time. So if you're a fan of Bill and Ted, and even if you're not, check out Bill and Ted Face the Music. If nothing else, it'll leave you feeling great in the end. And isn't that always a good thing? So there it is, guys, my review of Bill and Ted Face the Music. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, San Dimas.
Thea! Billy! Dance! How you doing?
Well, you know, we're dead and we're in hell.
But how you doing?
We're good.
I'm probably gonna catch some flack for giving this movie such a high rating, but I don't care. That's how I felt. This movie left me feeling so damn good that it deserved that. That's why we watch movies. That's what they are. They're entertainment. And I felt very entertained by this movie. Does it have its flaws? Yes, of course. Every fucking movie has its flaws. But it did exactly what it set out to do. And I don't think people realize how much of a feat that is after 30 fucking years. This could have been such a fucking shit show. But it wasn't. The fact that they brought it together like this is fucking amazing, in my opinion. How many times have we seen things like this attempted and they just fail on every fucking level? But here they did it, and I think that that deserves to be commended. And if it didn't do anything right, if nothing else, it answered one question that was most important that I've been wondering for the past 30 years, which is, who did Missy marry next? It answered that, so I mean, what the fuck else do you want?